Okay, so what we're working on today is section 1.2, and I broken 1.2 into two sections so that way you could just learn it a little bit at a time and make sure you're understanding it. Okay, so to solve equations, remember you have to do the inverse operation. And the inverse for addition is subtraction. And then for subtraction, it's addition. Remember, those are the opposite operations. For multiplication, that's paired with division. Division is paired with multiplication. Change colors. Okay, so when you do these problems, this is a big thing that we have to do. There's more technical ways to say it, but this is what is the easiest thing to remember. You move the number that is not touching the variable first. That's going to work for 90% of the cases. The other cases we'll get to, and I'll show you what to do. So move the number that's not touching the variable. Okay, so what I do is I'm going to start off the first couple problems, just going slow and talking about it. So I need to get rid of this 3 and this 2 because they're both on the same side as the variable, and I don't want that. So to get rid of a 2, I'm going to divide by 2. And to get rid of the 3, I'm going to minus 3. Because this one is away from the x first, that's what I do first. So I minus 3 on both sides. It also helps if you keep it organized, so try and make sure you keep everything organized. And so now I have 2x is 12, because 3 minus 3 is gone. And now remember, this is 2 times x, so I'm going to divide by 2. And so x is 6. Okay, same thing here. Draw my line down from my equal sign. I want to stay organized. I have to get rid of that negative 3 and that minus 5. And the one that's farthest away is the minus 5, so I'm going to add 5 first. So I get negative 3x is equal to negative 9. And now I'm going to divide by negative 3. Don't forget the negative. A lot of times people will leave it off, but then that'll change your answer. And so x is a positive 3. All right, last example before we start doing some yourself. Got to get rid of this 3 and this 2. The one that's farthest away from the x is the 3, so I'm going to minus 3 first. And I get x divided by, that's divide, by 2 is 4. And to get rid of a divide by 2, I times by 2. And so 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so it's gone. So x is 8. Okay, so remember you get rid of what's not touching first. Okay, so now what we have is just to check our solutions. If I wanted to check my solution, we'll kind of split it up for each one. You plug in and check that it is true. It is true. So for this one above, 2 times 6 plus 3 is supposed to equal 15. Well, that's 12. And 12 plus 3 equals 15, so we did it correctly. Too much red, I'm going to change the color. Okay, so now the next one, negative 3 times 3 minus 5 is negative 14. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. And negative 9 minus 5 is negative 14, so we've done that one correctly. And then last one to check, 8 divided by 2 plus 3 is 7. Well, 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 plus 3 is 7. So we've done that correctly too. Okay, so if you're ever wanting to make sure you did it right, and it's a good habit to do, go ahead and plug it in. Okay, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to try and solve these first 3. When you think you have it, press play. You could do one at a time, or you could do all 3, but I'd like you to try these on your own. Okay, so even if your variable's on the other side, you still do the same thing. So I'm going to get rid of the plus 8 first, or the minus 8 by adding 8, and I get 18 is 2x. And then I divide by 2, so you should have got 9 is equal to x, which is the same as x is equal to 9. It's good to get used to working with them on both sides, so don't try and always switch it. Just be comfortable knowing the process. For number 5, I should have got rid of a minus 2 first by adding 2. And to get rid of a divide by 3, I multiply by 3. And so go 21 is x. There we go. And over here, same thing, minus 3 on both sides. 7x is 14. To get rid of a times 7, you divide by 7. And x is 2. So it's that same process all the time. Look to see what's farthest away from x. Okay, so we got 3 more. Number 4 is a tricky one, so once you get that written down, I'm going to help you with that. Okay, so if you notice, number 4, x plus 2 is together on this fraction. So that means those things cannot be taken away when I have that fraction. So what I have to do first is I have to get rid of this divide by 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3. And so now 3 divided by 3 is gone, so now I'm left with x plus 2 is negative 12. And now you have a problem, you know what to do. I'm just going to minus 2 on both sides, so x is negative 14. So when you have a big divide like this, you have to think about it that the things on top are stuck together, and you can't move them until you get rid of this bottom number. All right, for number 5, not a difficult problem, but we haven't seen any parentheses yet. So remember, with parentheses, we have to distribute. So it's going to become 2x minus 12. Yeah, that's right. Equals negative 10. And then I'm going to add 12 to both sides. So 2x is 2. And then I divide by 2, so x is 1. All right, and then number 6, I'd like you to try number 6 on your own. It's like number 5. Once you think you got it, go ahead and press play. Okay, so you should have distributed, and you get 5x minus 10 is equal to negative 25. To get rid of a minus 10, I'm going to add 10 to both sides. So I get negative 15 is equal to 5x. And then now I divide both sides by 5. So I get negative 3. And that's it. So they do get harder, but we're starting with this process first, where you have to decide what to get rid of first. And remember to get rid of what's not touching. If you have parentheses, you have to distribute. And if you have a big fraction like number 4, you have to think of those top things being stuck together until you get rid of the bottom number.